Welcome back. You now made it to part 2 of the MedusaJS on Railway tutorial series. In the part 1, we finished with a running template webshop. So you should be having a Railway dashboard that looks like this, a front end and a back end that both have green check marks. If you go to your front end and your public URL, you should have this webshop, the template webshop. And right now you're probably eager to change it to personalize it with your own text and logo. So in this tutorial, I'll be going through one simple update and we're going to change the Medusa store here in the navigation bar. Okay. I have written a little blog post with some links that can come in useful. So the first thing is that we're going to need a few development tools, and that would be Git. So if you don't already have Git, head over to the website, download it. I'm on Windows, so I'll download it for Windows, install it. Next thing is we're going to need a code editor, and I like VS Code. You can use any other code editor, but if you want to follow this tutorial as easy as possible, then all the example I'll be making is in VS Code. And you can find it from over here. There's a download button. Last thing we're going to need is Node.js, which is a JavaScript runtime framework, so you can run it locally on your own machine. It's not an application that you run like the Git terminal or VS Code. It just needs to be installed for you to run your web shop locally, and that comes in very handy because we want to make sure that it looks right before we deploy it to our production environment. Git is the tool that we'll be using to deployment. When you push your code with Git to your repository, Railway will automatically start, it will pull from your repository and then start a build pipeline and deploying your thing. It's set up as a continuous integration, which is a modern and very easy way to deploy code changes. So let's get started. You head over to Railway and click on either one of your app containers, then go to settings, and under source repo there will be this link to your GitHub and whatever name you called your repository. So I'll hold Control and click it to open a new tab. So this is your Git repository. We're going to clone it to your local environment. To do that, expand the little code box here, and we will copy this URL. I'll then open a Git terminal here, and I am currently in C users fun documents. Fun is my username. And in order to clone it, I write git clone. I then paste in the URL I just copied. I put another space and I'll make a folder name. So this will be Medusa project. And I hit enter. You see now it's cloning from my Git repository. If you run the Git terminal for the first time, a little pop-up will come and say that you need to sign in, and that's because your code is protected. And there will be a little button, you click it and it will open a browser tab and sign you in. You then tap back to the Git editor and it should clone just like this. Okay, now I will cd change directory to Medusa project. Hit enter. I'm now in the project. I will open VS Code. So I write code, space and a dot, hit enter. And it now opened Visual Studio Code. Yes, I trust the author and I am not interested in installing updates right now. Let's close the welcome window. And here in your source tree, you'll see the backend and the front end project. We are only going to be making changes to the storefront, which is the front end. So in order to open a terminal and start developing in Visual Studio Code, there is various keyboard shortcuts, but they might be different from you. So I'll click the user interface buttons. So toggle the bottom panel here, and it opened already with a PowerShell terminal, which is fine. If it opens something else for you, you can click the little drop down here. Let's open a git bash terminal just for the sake of it. So now we are in the root, but we need to go to the storefront. So change directory, MedusaJS dash s tab. Yes, like this. When we are in the storefront, we need to install some dependencies. And now is a good time to check that you had Node installed correctly. So I'll write node space dash dash version, hit enter, and I got a v18.18. So that means Node was installed. Then I will install the dependencies npm install, hit enter, and this can take a little while. Let's start installing the backend dependencies while we're waiting for this one. So on the bash terminal, I'm not sure if my camera is blocking. I'll put it up a little bit. Here, there's a split view, which will open another terminal, and you see, okay, this is a PowerShell, but that's fine. So we are now in the root again. So change directory, MedusaJS, and then the B for backend, tab, enter. Now we are in the backend, and here we also need to install the dependencies. So npm install. And I will pause the video, and as soon as they both have installed, I'll come back. All right, they're now both done installing dependencies. So you'll see I have a node modules folder in my storefront, and there should be one also in the backend. That's the dependencies. Next thing is we're going to need to align your environment variables in the local just as they are in Railway. And there will be this file in the backend called env.template. And as you see here, when you open it, you need to copy and paste in your database URL from Railway. So I'll do that. I'll delete this part and I'll uncomment it. And the same is true for Redis URL. So uncomment and delete this. I'll then head over to Railway and select my backend container, go to variables, find the database URL is right here. I'll copy it, paste it in, find the Redis URL, copy it, and save, close the file, and then we need to remove the template. So it's just called .env. Hit enter, we can now close it. We need to do the same for the storefront. It's called env.local.template, and we need to remove the .template like this, but I don't think any changes is needed here. Let's close it. All right, so now everything is set up. We just need to run a few commands here. So in the terminal for the backend, I'm going to write npm run dev. This should start the backend. And once the backend is running, we can build the front end. Okay, we have a successful. Let's just see that it is there. So localhost 7000, and we have the admin dashboard. Now we go to the terminal of the front end, and we're going to build it npm run build. And it confirms that the backend is ready, which means that it can actually build. Okay, so we got a build error, and this is expected, and that's because we are running with npm instead of yarn locally. And that is a little bit annoying, and there is a workaround. So this comment it's complaining about, I'm going to copy it, going to the search and search for it. And then I'm going to break the syntax by putting an X here and X here. and X here. So if you were running with yarn instead of npm, you wouldn't get this error, and that's why we also not get the error in production when it was built on Railway. So before we push, we need to remember to remove these X's. Going to run the build command again. Yeah, it built. So now that the app is compiled, we can run it. npm run dev also here. And it is already ready. So I'll just hold control and click on this. So you see we now have the same web shop locally. It's on localhost as the one we have in production. We can confirm that they look identical. So it says Medusa store in the navigation bar here, and on localhost it also does. But we're about to change that. So I'll make a quick logo. Right, me a text to image prompt. That will generate a logo for a web shop. The web shop will be selling coffee. We want realistic. Okay, this will do for our logo. I'm gonna save it in pictures. Right, on the app, I'm going to inspect the element I want to change to find it. So this is a element, and it has these classes. Maybe I can find it by searching for just Medusa store. Let's try that. So I'll click find in folder on the front end project, and I'll paste in Medusa store, and I'll expand the search results a little bit. Let's see. No, that sounds about right, because it's the navigation bar. To confirm that I found the right element, I'm going to put an X here, save it. I see it compiled. Let's go back to the app, and there's now an X. So we know we found the right element that we want to change, and we don't want it to be a localizable link. We want an image. So actually, let's host the image on Cloudinary. Let's go to assets, folders. We have the space cat for earlier. Let's upload, browse, and in pictures we have the coffee logo. Copy URL. So image source. Let's see if this is enough. Hit save. It's a little bit big. Let's make it smaller. Still a little bit too big. Yeah, that looks better. Now we have our logo. Let's also find and remove this. Copy it. Back here, search for it, and we found it. I believe it would be on. Let's see if this is the right place. It was. So we can go ahead. Hit the since 2000. And let's remove the GitHub button and link. All right, I think this is enough to that you get the point of how you can make changes. Now we want to deploy them so they become live. If we go back to the actual hosted version of your web shop and refresh, you'll see that it still looks like this. And we want to change that. So I will go back here. You could terminate, let's terminate them. We'll terminate this one and also the backend. And then we will go one step backwards. So cd dash dash, dot dot slash. Now we are in the root of the project and we're going to write git status to see what changes were made. Let's just expand the view a little bit. Okay, so we changed these. Yeah, so the templates show up as deleted. That's because we renamed them, and they are not in the. They are not going to be pushed to Git, which is a good thing because you have the environment variables from your Railway environment. Then we changed something in the hero index, and that I believe was the. That's right here. It's the main page and the navigation bar. Here we put our logo. Then there was the accordion, and here we need to remember to enable the syntax again. So it will show up as an error, but the error is not an error when you build on Railway. So this is what we want to end up with. I'll write git status again and see we have the templates deleted, we have the hero and the navbar. Yarn.log, you don't have to worry about that, and the same with the package.log. They are for the build environment. So that's not changes you made, that's changes that were made when you installed the dependencies. Now we need to git add dot for adding all the files. And I write git status again. I see now they are all green. So we can create a commit. Git commit dash m for commit message. Changed logo. And Git says, because we are not signed in, or this was the first time we're running Git, we're going to need to define a Git user. So I'll copy this one. Yeah, why not just example? And your name. Let's see if we can commit now. And looks like the commit was done. Now I need to push it. This is the moment of truth. Let's see. Okay, it looks like it went through. I am going to head over to Railway. This is a very good sign. It says building already. So that means that the code changes was pushed to GitHub and Railway. There's some kind of webhook connected between the two of them. Railway picked it up and started a build process. Let's head over to the repository. You will see there's 2 commits and the latest one is changed logo. And these 2 are the also generated. No, these were the deleted ones and the package log were the auto generated. And here we have the actual code changes that we did. We just changed some text. And on this one, we removed a localized client link and put in our logo instead. I am going to pause and come back when these are done. All right, 6 minutes later, and it's now done building. Let's open the front-end container, go to deployments, and it is green. That means everything went well. Let's open the app. And moment of truth, yes, we have our custom web shop live now. We have our own logo and our own text. So I hope this is enough to give you an idea about the process of making changes. Obviously, I cannot go through every single thing that you might want to change, but I hope you get the idea. Another thing I would like to show you is so the Medusa platform comes with no payment system installed by default. And let's go to the Medusa config file just quickly. And you will see this is the Cloudinary configuration that I added. It also doesn't come with this normally. But here we have a payment manually, and that's like a dummy payment system. So this will not allow your users to use a credit card to pay with, for example. You probably want to install a payment provider. I suggest something like Stripe. So let's just take a look at the documentation. So I think it's this one. Yeah, so on this page, you'll find a complete guide to how you can install Stripe as a payment provider. And you'll go through the guide and then you will create a new commit. Remember to add all the files, then make a commit and then push it. Then it will become live on your hosted web app. And then your customers will be able to use credit cards or any, yeah, there's a few more options than credit cards. And I believe there is even a video somewhere with a guy explaining you how to do it. That was not here. Let's go on back and see if it's here. Yeah, so I really urge you to watch this video. That saved me from making it. This guy show you exactly what to do. And then you have a payment provider. The same is true for sending emails. There is another plugin for that. So that would be called SendGrid. Yeah. And here is a guide on how you set up SendGrid, which is true for both the Stripe and the SendGrid, is that though they are external, they are third parties. So you need to sign up with a user for both of them. Obviously, you need to provide some banking details to Stripe in order to receive payments. And with SendGrid, you need an email address configured for your domain. So the emails that you're sending out to your customers, they will come from your domain and not some SendGrid email. In the SendGrid dashboard, you can also create email templates for resetting password, order completion, all these kind of things. Yeah, the sky is the limit, basically. Okay, I hope this helped you a lot on the path to personalize your Medusa webshop and get it going. This was planned to be the last tutorial in this series, but if you encounter any problems or have anything that is related to the template that I've created, please let me know and I might consider creating a video upon your request. Okay, that's all for now. Bye.